Welcome to the Realtor Diaries, episode 2. It's all about your first year in real estate. I'm Kim Jacoby with the Jacoby team of Century 21, and with me...
My name is Elijah McGowan, also with the Chico team. We are your go-to Northern California realtors. And we're talking about our first years in real estate.
Yes, in fact, you just celebrated your...
first year anniversary at the time of this recording. I think we're about 2 weeks after my first year.
Yeah, so you're no longer in your first year.
But I'm still the new kid on the block, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. You know what? Hopefully I'll sit in that seat for a while. Because, I've seen a few realtors come into our office and then I don't see them show up and their name tag goes down pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yep. But I think I'm a little different because I went straight into full-time real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I got my license on January 1st, and so started my first year. I tried to line up interviews with brokerages, and the only brokerage that got back to me was Century 21.
That's crazy.
And I had done an interview before that, and even they suggested they didn't have the best training because they were a local brokerage,
Yes.
and they admitted that they weren't the best team to say. And so I interviewed at Century 21, and our manager Shalinda said, if you would sign right now, I'd have you in. I was like, okay, that's awesome. I love that. Let me take it home and read over the contract. But and I became a realtor, I think February 3rd. And
that's when you joined the National Association of Realtors.
Yep, exactly.
Our local association.
Yep, Sierra North Valley.
That's right.
But yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster before that, like in episode 1. But then I got to start straight in with we're Century 21 Select, specifically, the Select group. And they own different brokerages, a couple different brands, but I got straight into our training program.
Yeah.
And so it was a little tough.
It's pretty robust.
Yeah.
How many weeks long is it?
That
was 6 weeks or something?
6 or 8 weeks. And I did it twice.
Twice?
Yes, because the first go around, I was floundering a little bit. I didn't have many connections. I was trying to build my SOI, trying to get out there. Not super successful. I'll be entirely honest. I was not very successful in my first 6 months. And so I did the classes twice. First go around, probably didn't pay attention as much as I should have. I didn't earn as much money as I had hoped.
Yeah.
And the second go around, I got so much more out of it. I don't think they said multiple times they didn't expect me to do all the classes again.
Yeah.
And
was it worth it?
It was totally worth it.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I did. Yeah. I found just in my life taking a class twice. The first go around, usually I get a good amount of material, and the second go around is usually way more valuable for me.
Oh yeah. I know for me, I'm such a teacher at heart.
Mm-hmm.
I found that I don't really grasp something until I teach it.
Yeah, there you go.
And then then it's 100% in there, yeah.
Yep. And so I was doing those 6 months of classes in there. I was meeting mostly realtors, which was great to learn about the business, and I think I've ended up being really good for my first few clients. But
for sure,
it doesn't really generate much business to talk to realtors.
Because they're your competition.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very friendly competition. They're very easy to get along with.
Yeah, we have a great local vibe with all of our realtors here. We're friends and, family in many cases.
And the thing that really kicked me in the butt was our Select Group Summit. So I got to go there. I got to meet all the people, especially all the successful people.
And that, just so you know what that is, it is a 2 or 3 day event in Reno at a big hotel, where we listen to speakers, and it's a conference.
It's a conference. Education, meeting the people you work with and for, and all that stuff. And it was great. And definitely, recently I read something talking about how you want to surround yourself with the people you want to be like.
Yes.
And definitely I was around people that I really enjoyed being around and were about as successful as I would like to be.
Yes, I know. It's so inspirational. And you're just you sold how much real estate?
Yeah,
It's
and it was
insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
And just getting to meet all those people really keeps me in the hiney. And very soon after that, I joined the Jacoby team.
Yes, that's my husband and I, Emmett. We saw that Elijah was just here at the office every day, working hard, and we were just in that time in our business where we wanted to add a third team member.
Yep.
And it was pretty much a no-brainer to
Yeah.
ask Elijah. So
I know, and they offered me great terms that I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah. It was funny because at the summit,
Yeah.
we were kind of trying to get to know you, like on the sly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we were like, Elijah, come sit with us, you know. Yeah.
I thought you were just being nice.
Yeah, well, we were, because
Yes.
we wanted you to like us. But
No, it was great. And I mean, that's what really kicked off, because I learned so much up to Summit. And then, like, at the end of me taking all these classes, I joined a team. And I really learned, oh, this is what they meant by follow-up. This is what they meant by keeping in touch with people and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you guys taught me so much because I didn't have a sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Well, like, I had one, but, I mean, I moved 3 hours away from my sphere of influence.
Yeah, that's so tough.
And, I mean, it was just so valuable to do that. And, I mean, it led to my first escrow.
Yeah. Yeah, when you start the business and you don't really have that many people that you know, you literally have to go out and meet people.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get added to your database.
Systems.
You have to, like, create a relationship with people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I actually did have some clients I was keeping in regular touch with. They just weren't ready to buy.
Right?
And then you guys had your lead source, and I started working on that. I got my first escrow, and I learned that, wow, it really does take over your life.
I know, yeah.
But, I mean, it makes sense because we're dealing with people's lives.
Right.
I mean, we're dealing with such an important decision, and my clients were in a position to be very rushed.
Yes.
And so
it was high intensity, that first escrow.
But I'm glad I went through it, and you know what? I learned a lot. And, I mean, that was my first deal took me 7 months to get into my first escrow, 8 months to get my first paycheck.
Yeah.
And then kind of the holidays hit, you know. so I didn't earn much that 1 year, but I learned a lot.
Real estate, it gets a little trickier to earn money in basically like November, December, January.
Yeah. But as soon as that first escrow passed, I had learned so much that, I mean, we're in the middle of my first month of my second year.
Yeah.
Well, the very beginning of my 5th quarter. And I'm in escrow again.
Yeah.
And I'm lined up to be in a few more this first quarter.
That's so awesome.
And things are just, I mean, rolling, rocking and rolling.
Yeah, if you can just like hang in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I was in my first year of real estate, I had told myself, Kim, you just can't quit.
Yeah.
You cannot quit this job. I mean, you know, at some point, like if you're becoming homeless or not eating, then you got to take measures.
Yeah.
But as long as you can
sustain
food and shelter, just don't quit. Stick with it. Do the things you need to do, and you'll make money. And then once you get on a roll, you can make a really good living as a real estate agent. So,
but I mean, so your first year, I mean, if you were telling yourself to stick with it, were you struggling?
Yes. So I was kind of similar to you. You know, I was not born and raised in the Chico area.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yes. But I had been in the Chico area for quite some time when I started real estate in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
But I had gone through a big life change. And basically, and that's all I'm going to say on that, but basically my sphere of influence, the people that I knew and knew me that I could potentially work with, was about 20 people.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like you, where I had to start really small and just build up my database. So one of the things that I did in my first year of real estate was I took part with a Century 21 online leads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like our company, you know, they, at the time, when somebody clicked on a house on the Century 21 website or on Realtor.com and they wanted to know more information about it or whatever, then anybody who was signed up with Century 21 lead program would go through this round robin, like, you know, you get the lead, and if you claimed it, it was yours. If you didn't respond within a certain amount of time, it would go to the next agent on the list, and so on. The hardest thing about doing that was when you got your paycheck, you had to give them half of your paycheck.
Really?
Yeah, plus the broker cut. And so it was tough. You know, it's tough getting those little teeny baby checks.
Yeah.
But at least I was getting business.
There you go.
And so my very first lead that I actually like turned into a client, it was a Century 21 lead.
Yeah.
I got the lead at like 7 p.m. at night. I had just finished
Really?
dinner and my kids were little.
And you had a time frame to...
And so I got the lead, I called them immediately, and they're like, we want to see this house. It was up in Paradise, so it was a 30-minute drive or 25-minute drive. So I said, yeah, I'll be there. So I dropped my kids off with my parents and drove up the hill, and I met these guys, and you know, I won't go into their whole story, but they're still clients today.
Hey, there you go.
And my very first clients. So
that's why you want to do it.
Yeah. But I have a really embarrassing story that I want to share about. It was in my first year of real estate. So these guys had a vacant lot that they wanted to put up for sale, and it was in a gated community. And so you had to have a gate code to get into this gated community. Now you can imagine that if you live in a gated community, you live there because you don't want people like knocking on your door, soliciting. You don't want riffraff, you know. You're living there for... You don't want everyone to have
your gate code.
Right, you live there for a reason. So the gate code that's a private thing.
Oh no.
So when you put your listing up on the MLS, you know, the back end of this program it's very complex.
Yes.
And I didn't have anyone sitting there next to me like, okay, now you go to this screen and you click these things. I was just kind of going like by common sense. Well, my common sense wasn't working that great because I didn't realize that there was a section in the MLS backend on a listing that was private remarks.
Just for agents.
Just for realtors. When they log on to their MLS, they could see those private remarks. That's the place you put a gate code.
It's true.
Right?
I see them all the time.
Well, I didn't know that. So I put the gate code in the public remarks, which gets fed out to the entire World Wide Web.
Yep, true.
So I put my listing on. I'm so proud. It's my first listing. Yay. So the next day in the evening, I was grocery shopping. I'm at Safeway. I've got my kids. They're little. My daughter's sitting in the basket. You know, I'm pushing my cart. I get this phone call and I have a listing. So of course I'm answering every phone call.
Every single call.
So I just stop right where I am in the aisle at Safeway and I answer the phone. And it's this gentleman, and I could tell right away that he was furious.
Unhappy.
He said, "Are you the listing agent who put our gate code on the internet?" And then he continued to say, like, "I'm going to hold you personally responsible if anyone comes into our community and steals anything or, you know, vandalizes our properties, then you will be held financially responsible." And then he also said, and then the next thing I'm going to do is call your manager and, you know, make sure that the manager, what would you call that? Like, basically he wanted me to be disciplined.
Yep.
And I could just feel the the blood drain out of my head.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there like in Safeway with my two little kids. My son, he's like 6, and he's running around the aisle, you know. I'm like, don't touch that.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I hung up the phone. I immediately called my manager.
Yeah.
And thank God that I had that resource.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it was like 5:30 at night.
Yeah.
And on a work day, and I called his cell. He answered right away. I told him,
really?
I told him what happened. I was crying.
Yes, of course.
I was crying. I'm like, my life is over. He's going to sue me. I don't have any money. And so my manager, he called me down. He told me what to do. Basically, just go into the back end of the MLS, remove the gate code, put it in private remarks. It'll get refed out to the World Wide Web.
It'll change.
And then he reminded me that every single landscaper, FedEx guy,
also,
all of them have the gate code. So yes, it is a private thing. Yes, it was very bad that I put it on the public remarks.
Mm-hmm.
But most likely everything was going to be okay, and that my errors and omissions insurance that I help through Century 21 would help a lot if I was to get sued.
Yes.
And he said, don't worry, when this guy calls me, I'll tell him what he wants to hear, but I support you, Kim, and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. I mean,
so
that's what insurance is for.
Yeah.
Partially, but also I didn't even think about that off the rip. Like, there are more people than just the people who live there that also have the gate code.
So many people. Friends, family, relatives, and
And people who work, landscapers, contractors, mailmen, anyone has the gate code.
Yep.
But was a mistake. Luckily, you had the resources to solve it quickly.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't imagine if I would have just been on my own.
Yeah.
I would have thought that the world was over.
Yeah.
I would have thought I failed.
Yep.
So, and there's just been so many instances where you kind of learn the hard way sometimes. You get the call from the agent of a house you just showed, and the agent calls and says, you left the back door unlocked.
Yep.
My seller's very angry.
I've gotten it was a scary call because I thought I'd have to go out into the boonies and return a key.
That's right.
But I mean, that one turned out all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, make mistakes.
Yeah,
That's
forgetting to put the key back in the lockbox or locking, and these are things that you think would be common sense, but when you are showing 6 houses in one day and you're going from house to house, and this is the first time you've ever done it.
Or it's the middle of the summer and you've done it a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a while to remember all the little things and make them habit.
That's what experience is for.
Yep. So first year in real estate, it can be tough, but if you just have that mantra, don't quit.
Yes.
No matter what.
And sometimes it takes some preparation to be able to tell yourself not to quit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm in year 2.
Yeah, you did it. You're fine.
Welcome to the guest portion of our podcast. We have Laura Willman with us today. This is actually the second time we're recording this. If you've listened to the audio version of this podcast, you will hear the first version. And we lost the video for the same version, and so thus here is our re-recording of it.
Version 2.
Laura is our resident rock star here at Century 21 with the voice of a songbird. She's been in real estate for 12 years. Where there's a Willman, there's a way. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. You bet. I'm happy to be here.
And we're going to start it off by learning a little something about you. And so we'd like to know what's something someone might not expect you to have done, just on face value.
Well, like I've said, we all have a history. Some of us are a little bit older than others, a little more gray at the temple. And I started this business at 50, so I'm no longer 50 because I've been doing it for 12 years.
There you go.
How does that math work? Because I'm actually 63, so I'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah.
There's somewhere in there an extra birthday.
There it is. Anyway, when I was in high school, my family was actually elementary school we did a lot of backpacking, but we still did some adventures in high school. We moved to Portland, Oregon, and my senior year, my mother decided we were going to climb Mount St. Helens. So we did that. We climbed up to the summit of Mount St. Helens, and I'll just say I graduated in 1979, and if some of you know your history, Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980. So.
That is insane. So you guys summited in 1979. A year later, that summit was gone.
Yeah,
That's
demolished, took out a
crazy.
lake, and
It's crazy to think
unfortunately,
about.
a few people also. It was a bit unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when volcanoes explode, usually it's not a great situation to say.
It's a
Just
little
put it
dramatic.
lightly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I've seen a Netflix documentary on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's wild.
yeah. It really is. But hey, what a fun! I've never glissading down the mountain. That was the best.
Really?
I had no idea it could be so much fun.
Glissading, what is that?
You're sitting on your behind with an axe pick and you're going down.
Oh my gosh.
That's how you get down.
Wow.
You're
That's
sliding.
crazy.
I didn't even know that existed.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
I need to write that
Very cool.
down. Glissading.
Yep.
Well, so our topic today for our podcast, as you know, is your first year in real estate. So we wanted to have you share with us what your experience was like your first year in real estate.
My first year in real estate was not actually at Century 21. I did a year at Capshaw Realty with Debbie Capshaw, and at that time she was, 2013 was the year that I started, and so the market was just coming back into itself.
Yep, it was
Yeah.
recovering.
It was still in recovery mode, so Debbie did not have any other agents working for her at that time, so it was just her and I in the office, and she was a great mentor. So
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
And she's a wonderful real estate agent.
she is.
Did you know Debbie beforehand?
I did
Like,
actually.
kinda
Yeah,
had it in?
that's a good question. She was my realtor.
Oh, she was already a realtor. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so she recruited me basically. She always told me that I'd make a great real estate agent.
Oh, neat.
So after many
Yeah.
years of thinking about it, the kids graduated from high school, and I decided, yeah, I'll give it a whirl.
Let's give this whole thing a go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she helped me, got me all set up on the tests and all that
Yep.
to get my license, and then through that first year, she was a one-on-one mentor. So she allowed me to work alongside her with her deals and her clients. She had me write up her offers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I could learn the documentation.
It's important to get in there
Yeah.
because I mean it's a lot.
And I was helping her kind of do some administration stuff, and that would help me.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the checklists of what you need for your files and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That would help me organize and figure out
Mm-hmm.
what was needed.
Makes sense.
I was pretty green for.
Did she let you do showings and help her with listings and stuff too?
Yes, I'd go along with her with some showings, and we didn't do a lot of listings at that time, but she was working with a lot of buyers at that time. So
Yeah, 2013.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to walk through escrows from beginning to end with her. It was.
That's so awesome.
It was.
Yes.
But it was a quiet year for myself personally. She was also showing me, what needed to be done as far as working with my sphere of influence and sending out letters, making contacts,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
So you were doing the work, but it
Doing
wasn't
the work.
quite your own business yet.
No, it was not.
So, may I ask, because this is the Realtor Diaries where we are real, when did you get your first paycheck?
My first paycheck was she gave me a little bit of money from one of her closings because I had done so much with it. So that was my
Okay.
first paycheck. I actually remember, I think I took a picture, hung up the check
Yeah, some
in
extra
the
work,
office for a
yeah.
while. And then I did do a new construction. I worked with a friend of mine, and got her pre-approved, and then she went into a new construction deal. I almost lost that commission, but
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Tell our audience why that is.
well, because when you work with new construction or builders, they frequently have their own agents, they have their own papers, they pay by referral.
Yes.
And if you don't, as an agent, if you don't register your client with that builder, you are not considered having been the reason. I forgot what is the legal term, the procuring cause.
There it
There
is.
For that buyer to walk
buyer.
through their doors. Yeah.
That's right. So I had to prove that I was a procuring cause and fight for that referral fee just a little.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to work with any new construction personally, but I've heard that it's both easy and tricky.
It can be tricky, yeah. We have to train or educate our clients that, if they are interested in new construction, to please, to please help let
us be
Yeah.
the procuring cause.
Yes. So many of our clients don't want to bother us,
Right.
and that's we want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bother us.
That's our
Bother
job.
us.
That's our
That's
job.
And so later in that first year, you moved to Century 21.
I did, yes. I went to Debbie and said, I think that I just needed to go somewhere where there's more people and just a little more energy to feed off
Yeah, absolutely.
others. And I found that here at Century 21.
And was she crushed?
She was not crushed. She was great. She agreed. And she understood, and she supported me. She's been a great supporter. And the beauty of it is, life's full circle. Now Debbie is a Century 21 broker, so she works here with us.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah, I love having her
That
here.
is really cool.
It really is.
That really is full circle. She started out as your realtor, and now
That's right.
she works here with you too.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep. And we've done a few deals together, at least one.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's full circle.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
it
true.
is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. It was great. She's great to work with, and
Yeah.
So the first year, it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And after I was here for a few months, I was in training, working with other trainees.
Yeah.
And we would work together. We'd feed off one another. I had a deal that I did with one. We partnered on one,
yeah.
and so that was good and fun experience. And I just found I'd had 10 months of some learning ahead of time. Plus, I was a little bit older than some of the other newer agents, so having a little bit of life experience, I think I won't say head of the class, but it moved me up a little
And a
bit more
stable
quickly.
head on the shoulders.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they asked me within a year or two to become the trainer.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think it was a year. So
Wow, that's
it
awesome.
moved pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That I became the trainer here, and boy, that's when you really start to learn when you're helping
Were
others.
you the trainer here then, I guess, when I joined in 2014?
You were.
2015? When
I
did
think
get
you
my-
were already
2014.
here.
Oh, okay.
You were, because I came. Yeah, so you were already
Okay,
here.
yeah.
So you, I think, may have just finished the training.
Yeah.
I was right behind you coming in.
Yeah,
while
yeah.
I had that year, I think,
Oh, that's right.
because I didn't
Okay.
train you.
So we did start Century 21 about the
About
same
the same
time, but
time.
you'd already had that time with Debbie and all that awesome training, and
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like you had a really good example to to follow.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And then I could be an example for others too, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you so much for doing this twice.
Yeah.
Because I forgot to hit record the first time.
Yeah.
Not awkward
So,
at all.
Thank you.
And now it's time for the news. Today our topic was your first year in real estate. And so we have plenty of stats and figures. Well, I have plenty of stats and figures, and then Kim will give you the lowdown on how to not fail, hopefully.
That's right, yeah.
And so the stat for first year real estate agents is 75% around that time. 72 to 75% fail in their first year. And 87% fail at the 5-year mark. And so it really trims the people off. And that's on top of, like we spoke on last episode, 50% fail the first time they take the test, the
Yeah.
state test. And so
So why is real estate, why does it have such a high failure rate?
a lot of it is,
I mean, I know the answer to that.
I mean,
I'm just being the voice of the audience right now.
yes, there is, some people don't have the nest egg because you're not making money immediately. You don't have a salary.
Why? Yeah, it
You
is
have to-
definitely not a get rich quick
Yes.
job.
And then that leads straight into not having connections. Like if you became a realtor, you're really young, and you're like, oh, I'll move to a place with more people. Well, you don't know anyone there. There's no one who trusts you
The
to be
more
their
people,
agent.
the more people you know in a community, the more likely you'll be
A successful agent, yes.
selling in your first year. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, those are the main two reasons, is lack of funding and you're missing leads. You just don't have the resources.
Yeah, I would say the number one hardest part about this job is finding somebody who's ready to buy a house right now.
Absolutely.
Or sell their house right now.
Not who just thinks they're ready to buy a house,
Right.
but actually is ready to buy a house in some way, whether they finally saved up the down payment for FHA. A lot of the times they're missing the fees that are associated with it. But yeah, passion does not drive our business, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who would love to buy a house, especially right now. It's been so hard for so many people with interest rates being at like 7.
Yeah,
you know?
which is hard.
Yeah,
really hard.
it makes that monthly payment just undoable for, at least in our area.
Yeah.
You know, and I, from what I've seen in articles and things, it's nationwide.
Yeah,
It's
that's what it
hard
seems
right
to
now.
be. Yeah, we're very our area focused and surrounding areas.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're in Northern California, about an hour and a half north of Sacramento. And we're kind of like this little island out here, Chico.
a little bit, yeah.
And then we've just got a bunch of little towns around us and lots of farming and orchards.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Chico is a town of 110,000 people.
Yeah, county of a little over 200,000.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We do have Chico State University, though.
Exactly. That's our shining gem in
Yes.
the center of our county.
Yeah.
And so, how do we not fail?
Well, so we already said that the more people you know in a community, the more likely you're going to have success in your first year. But so here are some key actions that you need to take if you want to be a successful real estate agent. First of all, I would say you need to have a schedule. Like,
Yes.
you're either going to work from home or you're going to work at an office, and you need to set yourself working hours
Yep.
where you're like, it's non-negotiable.
It wasn't until the last quarter of my first year where I really was like, okay, this is my schedule, and
Yeah.
I follow it. And of course, some variance, things happen, but
Right.
and I've seen a lot more success from just having that.
It's very difficult to maintain any kind of schedule in this job. So set your schedule, understand the market, thoroughly research your local market trends, property values, neighborhoods, look at as many houses as you can, go on your office tour and your MLS tour, and just really start to study that MLS, the actives, the solds
Yeah.
in each neighborhood, area, town, and just memorize it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of money that goes into just becoming the realtor, like, and having access to all these tools,
Right.
and you need to use them.
Yes.
That's the key. Is even if you do know people and you do have the finances and you've done the schooling, so you have a base level of knowledge, it's nothing like being on the job.
No, the number one thing that you need to know as a real estate agent is your local market, so that when you're in the grocery store and you're chatting it up with the checker,
Yep.
and they know you're a realtor because you shop there all the time, and they say, how's the market? You need to have an answer.
You gotta know.
Yeah.
You have to know.
You want to build your sphere of influence, otherwise known as SOI.
Also known as every single person you know.
Yeah.
Or every single person you have the contact information for.
So you're going to want to get a database and put in their name, phone number, address, email address, those key things. And you want to reach out to everyone you know on a regular basis. A great book to read, by the way, especially if you're in your first year, is The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, I believe it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Keller Williams guy who started Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It is amazing. It goes through this whole formula of, that he calls them touches. You know, so like you need to touch your SOI like 32 times a year, and you're going to do it via phone calls, email, snail mail, face-to-face interactions, and then when you get a lead, you need to touch them every day for, you know, so it's a really great book. It kind of guides you through that.
And it's actually, I think that's where we got a lot of the language, if you're around a lot of realtors.
Yeah.
Touches. Everyone knows what a touch is. Everyone knows what follow-up is. Everyone knows like what different kinds of leads are.
Right.
And so.
Choosing the right brokerage is important. If you go to a small brokerage, you know, like we heard from Laura, she got that one-on-one training, and that was huge for her. Or you can go to a larger brokerage that offers just tons of classes, support. The reason why, you know, we chose Century 21, one of the reasons being this strong brand.
Yeah, that's why I was here.
Yeah.
Partially.
It's a worldwide brand. You don't even have to say the word real estate. Most people know Century 21 is a real estate brokerage. You need to stay updated on the regulations and the laws.
Yep. Especially this past year, a lot of things have changed in real estate.
Oh my goodness.
And we weren't sure about the middle of last year if they were going to become law.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them did become law.
Yeah, sure enough, Gavin Newsom signed into law that everyone who practices real estate, if you're working with a buyer, you have to have a buyer-broker contract signed at least by the time you're writing an offer with them. Now, if you are a realtor, meaning you're a member of the National Association of Real Estate Agents, then you have to have a buyer-broker agreement before you even show houses.
Yep.
So,
which is tough, but new regulations, things change all the time.
That's right. Now, there's just so much that goes into this job. We cannot cover it on the news segment of our podcast today, but I think we've given you a little taste of what it's like in your first year in real estate.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot which one it was.